offices are constantly flooded with calls from African Americans starving for an opportunity because they know the chances of them getting an opportunity to elevate in the National Football League is slim to none in most other places throughout the National Football League. Did I even get into ownership? No, I did not. Maybe I should. Why? Because outside of Shad Khan in Jacksonville, you can't find a face different than white.
Was Kevin Stefanski pretty much declaring public war on Shedeur, or at least Cold War on Shedeur, because he won't even speak Shedeur's name.
Stephen A. Smith is back, and he's coming in hot. He's tearing into the controversy surrounding Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns, and according to him, this situation isn't just football drama, it's something way deeper. Stephen A. says what plenty of people have been scared to admit, this isn't just bad coaching or poor judgment, this feels like discrimination. He's pointing his finger straight at Kevin Stefanski, accusing the Browns head coach of doing everything in his power to keep Shedeur Sanders off that field. And why? Because once Shedeur gets his chance, the truth explodes for everyone to see. The kid's talent can't be denied, and it threatens the whole system. Shedeur Sanders, a young black quarterback with unreal skills, could easily outshine the so-called franchise favorite, Dylan Gabriel. That's what's really making people mad. Fans are lighting up social media, calling Stefanski's choices not just questionable, but downright biased. Then came the spark that lit the fire. Stefanski naming Bailey Zappe as QB2 over Shedeur, claiming it was because of a lingering injury. Nobody's buying that. Stephen A. says it's time to stop hiding behind excuses because this isn't just about football positions anymore. It's about fairness, pride, and a league being forced to face the truth. Kevin Stefanski keeps trying to act like everything's fine, like he's got the whole thing under control. But if you look closer, the picture doesn't match the words. He claims Shedeur Sanders is too young to handle the pressure, but then turns around and gives guys like Quinshon Judkins a shot, a rookie who didn't even have a full training camp and is already out there making plays. How's that make sense? If Judkins can be trusted to prove himself, why is Shedeur being locked out of that same chance? Fans aren't dumb. They see the double standard loud and clear. And Stephen A. Smith went straight for the jugular with his take on Stefanski's so-called strategy. He called out the hypocrisy plain and simple, reminding everyone how Stefanski benched Joe Flacco last season, claiming it was time for change. Naturally, everyone thought that meant Shedeur was next up, right? But nope, Stefanski pulled another twist and put Flacco right back in the QB2 spot instead. And now, even with Flacco out of the picture, Shedeur is still sitting on the sidelines while Bailey Zappe somehow jumps ahead of him on the depth chart. Stephen A. called that move flat out unacceptable, saying it exposes how messy and biased this situation really is. It's crystal clear that something's got to give. But let's not pretend Kevin Stefanski's moves are random. There's a deeper game being played here, and the big question echoing across the NFL right now is whether Stefanski's decisions come from football strategy or personal bias against Shedeur Sanders. Stephen A. Smith didn't bite his tongue for a second. He straight up called out how bizarre it is that Shedeur, after everything he's shown, is still buried so low on the depth chart. He reminded everyone about Shedeur's preseason performance against the Panthers. That game where he lit it up like a seasoned pro, smooth throws, sharp reads, poise under pressure. The kid showed everything you want in a quarterback. And Stephen A. didn't stop there. He praised Shedeur's character off the field too, talking about his discipline, humility, and how he carries himself like someone who already understands what being a leader means. He said Shedeur isn't just talented, he's the real deal, both as a player and as a man. Yet somehow, Stefanski keeps pretending not to see it. He keeps preaching about developing rookies while ignoring the one rookie who's already proving he's ready. It's beyond confusing. It's frustrating. And as Stephen A. made clear, this goes beyond football politics. It's touching something the NFL's been avoiding for far too long, the uncomfortable truth about bias that still lingers in the game. Stephen A. Smith took things even further, saying the NFL can't keep sweeping this kind of thing under the rug anymore. He said it loud. If a player like Shedeur Sanders, who's shown both talent and maturity, keeps getting pushed aside, then we're not just looking at bad coaching, we're looking at a system problem, and that system protects comfort, not competition. He questioned how Stefanski could keep praising hard work and accountability while ignoring the guy who's been grinding harder than half the roster. Stephen A. said, "You can't preach development on Monday and bury a star on Sunday." That line hit the internet like lightning. Fans reposted it everywhere, calling it the most honest take of the year. Reports even started leaking from inside the Browns facility, whispers saying certain staff members believe Stefanski's ego is in the way, that he doesn't want to be proven wrong by a rookie who brings too much attention, especially one carrying the Sanders name. And that's where the tension really exploded, because now it's not just about football, it's about pride, control, and power. The media's eating it up. Social platforms are flooded with hashtags like hashtag free Shedeur and hashtag play the best not favorites, and even neutral analysts are starting to question Stefanski's credibility. Stephen A. summed it up perfectly. This isn't just about who's under center. It's about who's got the courage to face the truth. And that truth is getting harder to ignore by the day. Stephen A. Smith's rant sent shockwaves across the league, and now even former players are jumping in. Some are saying what fans have been thinking all along, that Stefanski's control freak attitude is suffocating real talent. One ex-Brown reportedly said he's more worried about protecting his reputation than winning games. That line blew up instantly because it hit way too close to home. The truth is, the Shedeur Sanders situation has become bigger than any single roster decision. It's now a full-blown debate about what kind of culture the Browns are really building. Are they about performance or politics? Are they developing talent or protecting egos? Because right now the message feels mixed, and the locker room can feel it too. Players are reportedly frustrated watching someone like Shedeur, who brings energy, leadership, and pure skill, get ignored week after week. Even some veterans are quietly saying that Shedeur deserves his shot, that he's earned it more than anyone else in that room. And the fans, they're done being polite. Comment sections, podcasts, and sports panels are all lighting up, demanding accountability from Stefanski. Stephen A. said it best, "You can't hide greatness forever." And the more Stefanski tries to bury Shedeur, the more obvious it becomes that he's not just keeping a quarterback off the field. He's holding back the very spark that could save his own job. Now, the tension inside Cleveland's walls is reaching a breaking point. Sources close to the team are saying that Shedeur Sanders' teammates have started voicing their frustrations privately, some even questioning what it'll take for the kid to finally get a fair shot. One insider claimed, "Guys see the effort Shedeur puts in every single day, and they can't understand why he's still being treated like an afterthought." That's a serious problem for team chemistry. Stephen A. Smith warned that this type of situation can destroy a locker room from the inside out. When players see politics winning over performance, faith in the coaching staff disappears fast. And with each passing week, that belief in Stefanski's system keeps slipping further away. It's not just about one quarterback anymore, it's about respect, fairness, and credibility. The worst part, fans are now turning what used to be ordinary press conferences into viral chaos. Every time Stefanski opens his mouth, social media explodes with clips, captions, and comments calling him out for hypocrisy. Memes of Shedeur sitting on the bench while others struggle on the field are everywhere, and they sting. Stephen A. said it plain, "You can't silence talent. It always finds a way to speak." And right now, the whole NFL is starting to listen. If Stefanski doesn't act soon, he might lose more than just games. He might lose his entire locker room's trust, and once that's gone, there's no getting it back. The NFL's long and messy history with race isn't going away, and Stephen A. Smith just reminded everyone why. The league keeps catching heat for how it handles racial issues, from the lack of black head coaches to the way black players are treated when they start threatening the system with too much talent or confidence. The NFL always puts out statements about progress and equality, but those same words start sounding empty when the actions don't match up. Remember last year's Super Bowl? Every single reference to racial inequality or injustice was scrubbed clean from the broadcast. The league claimed it wanted to focus on unity, but what it really did was silence an uncomfortable truth. And when you've got powerful figures like Donald Trump and corporate sponsors in the VIP seats, it's hard not to question what message they're really trying to send. The optics look terrible, like the league was more worried about ratings and image than about reality. And now, more players are speaking out, not hiding behind PR filters, but calling things what they are. When asked about racism inside locker rooms, several players admitted it's alive and well, and it's not just subtle, it's embedded in the culture. One veteran even said, "People think the locker room's a brotherhood, but behind those doors, race still decides who gets heard and who gets ignored." That's chilling, and it proves the fight for equality in football is far from over. The sad truth is, most players who deal with racism in the league feel completely trapped. They know that speaking up could cost them everything, their contracts, their endorsements, even their careers. It's a brutal choice. Stay quiet and keep playing, or speak out and risk getting blacklisted by the same system you worked your whole life to reach. That kind of fear runs deep, and it keeps too many players silent when they should be heard. Many black athletes, especially the younger ones, admit privately that they feel forced to play the game both on and off the field. They downplay what they've seen. Some even publicly claim the NFL is the least racist institution in America, just to protect their image and keep the peace. That's how twisted it's gotten. Success in the league often means silence comes with the job. One perfect example is Cam Ward, last year's first overall draft pick. When asked about racism in the NFL, he said, "Every boy dreams of making it here." no matter how hard the journey is. His words sounded proud, but also heavy, because what he really showed was the painful truth. For so many players, the dream of reaching the NFL shines so bright that it blinds them to the darker realities underneath it. Stephen A. Smith says that right there, that silence is part of the problem. He called it the unspoken deal between players in the league. Keep your head down, don't rock the boat, and you'll stay on the roster. Step out of line, and suddenly you're difficult, a distraction, or not a team guy. It's the same playbook that's been used for decades, and Stephen A. made it clear it's time to tear it up. He reminded everyone how history keeps repeating itself. The league loves celebrating its black stars when they're scoring touchdowns or boosting ratings, but the moment they speak truth to power, everything changes. The support fades, endorsements go quiet, and suddenly that same player becomes a problem, Stephen A. said. They love your game, but not your voice. And that quote blew up across social media because people know it's true. And it's not just current players feeling it. Retired veterans have been speaking out too, saying they face the same double standard their whole careers. The same system that profits from their success still punishes them for their honesty. Right now, fans are starting to see the bigger picture. Shedeur Sanders' situation isn't just about a depth chart. It's about how the league still struggles with who gets power, who gets respect, and who gets silenced. And if Stephen A's right, the Browns aren't just making a football mistake. They're exposing a truth the NFL's been trying to hide for years. Stephen A. Smith didn't stop there. He said what everyone's been too scared to admit. Shedeur Sanders' situation might just be the spark that forces the NFL to face its own reflection. He said, this isn't just about a player being benched. It's about an entire system being exposed for how it treats young black talent that dares to stand tall, speak confidently, and refuse to play the politics game. He pointed out how Shedeur's story mirrors what's happened time and time again. Gifted black quarterbacks getting labeled as cocky or too confident, while others doing the same thing get praised for being leaders. Stephen A. shouted, the double standard is real, and Shedeur is living it right now. That line hit like a bomb across the sports world, lighting up every show, podcast, and timeline. The crazy part, fans are more aware than ever. They see the stats, the film, the effort, and they're asking one simple question. What else does Shedeur have to do to earn his shot? Even neutral analysts are saying the same thing now. The kid's ready. The only thing standing in his way is politics, not performance. Stephen A. closed his segment with pure fire. If you're scared of talent, don't coach. If you're scared of pressure, don't lead. The studio went silent after that because deep down, everyone knew this isn't just about football anymore. It's about fairness, truth, and a league running out of excuses. Tom Brady's recent comments about black quarterbacks who show personality and self-expression just poured more gas on the fire. He tried to play it off later, saying players should celebrate as a team, but everyone caught the real message. And it didn't sit right. His remarks about self-branding and individualism exposed something much deeper, a bias that's been sitting in plain sight for years. When Brady criticized players for being too flashy or focused on building their own brand, it felt like a direct shot at the new generation of confident, outspoken black quarterbacks, the very ones who are changing the culture of the game. His words didn't just sound outdated, they sounded dismissive, like self-expression was something only certain players were allowed to have. And that's where Stephen A. Smith tied it all together, saying Brady's comments only prove what's been brewing under the surface for years. The situation between Shedeur Sanders and Kevin Stefanski isn't just bad coaching. It's part of that same system that still judges players differently based on who they are and how they carry themselves. Shedeur's got everything a coach should want: discipline, leadership, and elite talent. Yet he's still being pushed aside for names like Bailey Zappe. Stephen A. Smith wrapped it all up with a warning that hit hard. The NFL can't keep running from this conversation anymore. He said the league's built an image around unity and equality, but when situations like Shedeur Sanders keep happening, those slogans start to sound hollow. You can't preach inclusion while ignoring the bias that's still shaping who gets opportunities and who doesn't. He said, this isn't just a Browns issue. It's a mirror for the entire league. And he's right. From hiring practices to player treatment, the same patterns keep showing up. Black quarterbacks with swagger and confidence are still labeled as arrogant, while others with the same attitude get praised as competitive. It's the same old story, just dressed up in new PR language. Fans are no longer staying quiet either. They're calling out the double standards, the hypocrisy, and the excuses that have been holding players like Shedeur back for years. The pressure's on, and the NFL can't keep hiding behind empty statements or token gestures. Stephen A. ended his segment with pure emotion, saying, if Shedeur Sanders can't get a fair shot after everything he's proven, what message does that send to every young black athlete watching? The answer's uncomfortable. But that's exactly why it needs to be asked. Because if the league doesn't start walking the talk, it risks losing the very players and fans who make the game what it is: real, passionate, and unapologetically human. Black players, especially black quarterbacks, keep facing battles that go way beyond the field. From how they're talked about in the media to the chances they're given in the league, it's clear they're still being judged by a different standard. Shedeur Sanders' story is living proof of that. A young star with all the talent, leadership, and drive in the world, yet constantly being overlooked because he refuses to play by outdated expectations. The NFL loves to talk about equality, but the pattern keeps repeating. Black quarterbacks who show confidence get labeled as cocky, while white quarterbacks doing the same thing get called leaders. That double standard still runs deep, and it's exactly what Stephen A. Smith and Cam Ward have been shouting about. They're not just calling out bad coaching, they're calling out a culture that still sidelines black excellence when it doesn't fit the mold. This isn't just about one bad decision or one unfair depth chart. It's a reflection of a league that still hasn't fully faced its issues with race. And until that changes, until the NFL starts rewarding talent and character equally, it'll keep hurting its own credibility and the players who make this game great. So let's talk about it. What do you think is really happening with Shedeur Sanders and Kevin Stefanski? Is this just poor decision-making or something deeper? Do you think the NFL treats outspoken, confident black quarterbacks the same as their white counterparts? And is the league truly doing enough to fight racism or just pretending to? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button, share this with every football fan you know, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because this conversation is far from over and the truth deserves to be heard. See you on the next one.